Yeah, I know I haven't seen you guys since the Combine, so getting caught up. Obviously, we were pretty busy in free agency. The emphasis going into free agency was really about adding some veteran, experienced players and leadership and kind of retooling the defense, and feel really good about where we came out as a team. And last week got a chance to get on the road and get out to some pro days and some workouts, which was great. And now we're here this week and look forward to get back in Jersey end of the week and starting the draft process and building the board and jumping full board into the draft. So with that, I'll open up to any questions.
Why was it important for you to add that veteran leadership to this
team? I know going into the offseason and prior to acquiring those veteran players, we were one of the youngest teams in the NFL. So we talked about that in the offseason and targeted a few guys, and we're able to land those guys and feel really good about the team and where we're at now.
With all the veteran quarterbacks available, how did you land on Geno?
Yeah, Geno, we had a lot of good discussions about Geno. Obviously, you guys know Geno well, too, and his familiarity here in New York. But last year, we evaluated Geno as well and had good grades on him and had some guys that were familiar with him and felt he would be a good fit for what we're doing moving forward.
I think we were looking at it. You addressed a lot of holes in the roster, but one that might still be there is receiver, too. How do you feel about that position right now, and are you looking draft there, or you still might add a veteran now?
I feel good about the wide receiver room. Obviously, getting Garrett back and healthy will be big for us, and seeing A.D. Mitchell and Isaiah and Arian, having those guys take the next step and continue to grow. But like all positions, we'll continue to evaluate the markets and see, is there an opportunity to add, competition and depth.
You've been a little active in trades. That's something you've done a little bit of. Yeah. Mostly, though, it's been a lot of the acquiring picks and things of that nature. Some of that compensation that you've gotten specifically within the top 100 picks of this draft, could you, piggybacking off of what Kaz said regarding a receiver, could you foresee being active in a trade market with one of those picks to get a proven, legitimate guy on the trade market?
I think everything's always on the table, and those are conversations that are ongoing throughout the year, really. But as we pivot from this week, get back into draft meetings, our focus will really be on the draft. And as we get into the draft, building the draft board and seeing kind of what's there. But I'm always going to pick up the phone. We're always going to have conversations, so we'll see.
Obviously, you mentioned Geno, but you also have Zappi and also Brady Cook too as well. Just how would you evaluate just kind of the backup roles behind Geno and potentially adding somebody?
Yeah, we feel good about the quarterback room, but could potentially add another guy to the room before the draft. We'll see where that goes, but we'll monitor that quarterback market and just see where we end up.
You guys, you did some private workouts with some quarterbacks. I know you've been bouncing around talking to a lot of these guys. What have you been hoping to learn about these rookie guys?
Yeah, no, it was great to get out last week. I think we started in Miami, we're at Notre Dame, we're at Ohio State, Texas Tech, and then finished in Bama. And it was a great week. One, for me, just to get exposure to some of these players. There's a lot of players we saw, offense, defense, some quarterbacks, and a chance to get around the coach, spend the whole week with AG, Frank, Musgrave went with us. So, an opportunity for me to get to know them, have a lot of conversations throughout the week. So I thought it was a really productive week and feel really good about it.
What were your impressions of Ty Simpson in his private workout?
It was good. It was good. It was a good visit with Ty. Really enjoyed the time down there. We went to dinner and had a workout in the morning with him. It was good.
How do you evaluate a player there, Darren? He doesn't have a lot of games played, so it's the sample size is pretty small and it's coming out. So how much of a does it make him a bigger risk than maybe some other guys? When does the risk?
No, obviously we want the biggest sample size we can. It's always projections with all these draft players, right? So the bigger the sample size, naturally you might feel a little better about it. But we'll still evaluate him. There's a lot of good things to see in the games he did play.
How much do you factor in just like a player's environment, especially, with the transfer portal and stuff like coaching changes, all that stuff, when you're evaluating these players?
Yeah, all of it comes into the equation, and it's a unique landscape we're in now with just all these players having so many transfers and different stops, and we'll exhaust all of our sources at those different stops to get to know the players better.
How much clarity do you have now with the number 2 pick in terms of all the speculation is either Reese or Bailey or Reese?
Yeah.
How much clarity do you know now?
I feel good about where we're at in the process, but there's still a lot of work to be done. We'll get back to Jersey end of this week. We'll really fire up our meetings next week and have a lot of good discussions over the next few weeks leading up to the draft.
With guys like that, how much do you weigh production versus what you see on tape, proven production versus, like a guy like Reese had 4 sacks or whatever, whereas Bailey had.
Of course, obviously, similar to the question earlier, where the starts, the career production, all of it goes into the equation, But we're in the business of projecting these guys and how they're going to play at the next level.
I'm curious when you are building the draft board and you guys are having these conversations. Do you discuss next year's draft at all, and like particular positions do you go? We think 2027 is going to be great at long snapper. So
right.
We're not going to take a long snapper.
We are talking long snappers.
Yeah, so we're not going to take a long snapper in 2026. Like, is that real? Like,
those discussions happen a little bit, but really we're so focused on the work we got to do now, and there's so much work, and we've got so much opportunity this year in this class. So most of the focus is on. I mean, there's some discussions about it, but those are big projections.
Right.
You know, and we've all seen that landscape change. So you never know. So you really need to be in the now and the focus on the now.
Supposedly it's a good year for long snappers.
Next
year. All right. Where's things staying with Breece Hall right now, and what's your confidence level in being able to get a deal done before the July?
Good. Things are in a good place, and I'm hopeful with Breece. Obviously, we'll get through this draft process, and after the draft, kind of shift my focus back there and hopeful to get something done with Breece.
With that second overall pick that you guys have, are you imagining that, look, we've got a guy, we're taking a guy too, or are you considering, or would you consider moving back?
Yeah, we're always open. We're open. We'll go through this draft process, like I said, and really build the board. And you know, the calls typically don't happen until middle, as it gets closer to the draft. But we'll always be open. Always pick up the phone.
This is more of a league-wide trend story, so apologies. But why do you think teams are more willing now to get rid of quarterbacks who have, like, massive cap hits, than, say, a few years ago? And I'm asking because you had the Denver situation where you
I think that's a good question, and it's something we have seen as of late. I think sometimes people realize just maybe a change of scenery, or maybe it's just not a fit, you know, and those things happen, and the league is ever changing and evolving, and regimes are changing. So I think teams run into that sometimes.
And owners have to be on board too.
Right? Absolutely. Those are big investments, right? Those are big investments, yeah.
We haven't seen you, this is a while ago, we haven't seen you, the Jermaine trade. What led to that?
I just felt good about the player we're going to get in Devondre Sweat. Felt good about the edge market, both in free agency and in the draft coming up. So it was an opportunity that worked out for all parties, and I'm glad it worked out.
Micah Fitzpatrick as well, just adding him to what does he do for this defense?
Another veteran player, leadership, experience, versatile player. There's some familiarity with our coaching staff. Duker was with him, Slowick was with him, a Jersey guy, so excited about adding Minka to the team for sure.
You guys made a decision on Will McDonald's option yet?
We have not, but I would anticipate us, picking up the fifth-year option with Will.